there, sports fans. Welcome to the 10 Yards Back podcast. Doing my six again for round 4 of the 2025 Betfred Super League. And my word, what a round it was. They just keep showing up, don't they? These teams, they just keep playing each other. So round 4 saw 40 tries, 29 conversions, only 10 points due to penalty kicks, which is good. Means the lads are behaving themselves. This round we saw another golden point, another nilling, and one of my favourite moments from this, probably not worth talking about too much. We saw a successful captain's challenge. Obviously, I'm a fan of those, resulting in a forfeit of possession for Salford. So Salford did a captain's challenge on a ruling. I believe it was a knock on, and yeah, it was right. Yep, you're right. It wasn't a knock on, but you knocked on first. So Castleford get the ball back. It's their scrum, which was pretty funny. Now round 4, we're starting to kind of get our feet under the table a little bit. I think it's kind of the point of the season where, nothing's decided. Of course, no one's won the league yet. In fact, no one's really running away with it either. Hull KR are at the top right now, but Saints are still smashing everyone on points difference, thanks to Black Saturday a few weeks ago. Less said about that, the better. But what I do like about this time of year is that you're starting to see players kind of put the marker down for, this is what I'm going to do this year. This is how I'm going to behave this year. So you start to get your ones to look out for. So, off the top of my head, a couple of young players I would say to watch out for this year. Fletcher Rooney, Cass, their fullback, I think he is, or a winger perhaps. Riley Lum from Leeds, and Lewis Martin of Hull FC. Those players, in every game I've seen this year, with them playing in, you just hear their names over and over again. With Lewis Martin and Riley Lum particularly, really getting the names on the score sheet there quite a lot. But also the older heads, should I say, not old heads, because I'm definitely older than them all. Mike McMeekin, Brodie Croft, Aidan Caesar, really putting their flag down and saying, this year I will be XYZ. In fact, I'm really impressed currently with the way Mike McMeekin's going, particularly at Wakefield. It's hard for a forward to get plaudits, really. So it never really goes that way. But he's really kind of marshalling that team around from the front in the middle, which is really, good for you, Mike. I know that you don't watch this because no one does, but if you did, good for you, mate. All right. So that's round 4. I mean, we look at the winners, the losers. We had the Thursday night game, which had basically everything. Hull FC versus Leigh, 22-all. Hull KR, I want to say pipping Saints, but yeah, they got there really, didn't they? They really controlled that first half, particularly. Cass got Salford. Catalans, yeah, they beat Leeds, but are we bothered about that one? That wasn't that eventful, that game. I think if you missed that one, you're okay. Wakefield battered Warrington. I'm going to say battered Warrington. I think that game could have been 28-30 and Wakefield still battered them because of the way they really came back. Wigan against Huddersfield. Huddersfield kind of gave us a good, kind of teased us a little bit there, didn't they? But Wigan showed their cherry on whites eventually. All right, so that's the round. But this is the 6 again show. So let's go into my 6 again for round 4. Okay, number 1. Divot Gate. Divot Gate, or rather, probably more accurately, was Tom Briscoe in touch or not? So this is the Leigh versus Hull game on Thursday night. Went to Golden Point. We'll discuss what happened there later. There's a point in the second half of Golden Point where Leigh kick off to Hull FC. Tom Briscoe catches the ball, but he's in touch. It certainly looks like he's in touch. But it was turned over for him going into touch when it really looked like he caught the ball in touch, right? So this was kind of this was a weird thing because so they kick the ball, Briscoe catches it, it's deemed a handover, right? The captain's challenge, you get your captain's challenge in the golden point. So Hull challenge the decision, and the decision's made that he never actually enters touch. There's green between his boot and the line the whole time. There's a big divot in the grass where his boot was, and that was the divot gate. The big focus of the event was the divot. Where is the divot? Is it on the line? Is it over the line? Is it nowhere near the line? It was look. I personally I thought he was in touch when he caught it. I thought it was really clever play for him to aim for the touchline, and so did he. And he explained afterwards that that's what he was doing. Both coaches came out against it in the end, which was it was interesting because the FC coach Cartwright he was pretty aggrieved by it. Was it in touch? Was it not in touch? If it wasn't in touch, then why did we have to surrender the ball? Shouldn't it have just been play on? If it was in touch, then surely we get a penalty on the halfway line. So what is it? Adrian Lamb even came out and said, yeah, it looked like it was in touch to me. I think we need to be more conclusive with these captain's challenges, and that seemed to be kind of an adjoining force. There is that both coaches came together and said, look, either it was in touch or it wasn't, but just fucking make your mind up. Just tell us whether it was or it wasn't, and get on with it. Like, these inconclusive captain's challenges don't do any good for anyone. Yes or no, move on. All right, because it is true. If it was inconclusive, right? So the refs give a decision on field, and we're kind of borrowing rules from the video ref, where you say, all right, if there's no solid evidence to overturn or support, then that's inconclusive, and so we give them the challenge back. And really, that was an unsuccessful challenge, wasn't it? You should really just say, no, it was unsuccessful. You've lost it. That was it. It wasn't a success. You've had it. Now, equally, we're kind of getting into philosophy here, aren't we, around captain's challenge? But I'm also not sure that you should get the challenge back if it's successful. I understand the merits of that. It makes it exciting. But there was a point in the Salford game, this weekend, where they got 3 in a row correct, and it just ate up so much time. Like, that game I think it was over 2 hours long because of all the challenges. There weren't that many stoppages in the game, so all the challenges just kept chewing up time. And I get it. If I was a Salford fan on that day, I would have loved it. But when you get 3 in a row, it's kind of a bit like, all right, guys, what are you going to throw this at next? So Tom Briscoe, was he in touch? Was he not? Divot gate. Did it change the game? I don't know. I kind of think so, because it's a golden point opportunity. If Hull at that point get a penalty on halfway, they probably wouldn't have kicked to goal. It was a bit too much to ask for that. But they definitely would have been able to get better field position. Probably would have won that game, I think, if the divot was on the line or over the line or whatever it was. So it's an interesting one. Definitely a talking point. My other sort of talking point on this divot gate thing, in touch, not in touch, there was a similar situation. No, not similar. There was a potential similar situation in the Cass game where Sam Wood is the ball is literally, he's about to catch it. He's readying himself to catch it. His brain is already planning what to do when he's caught the ball, but his foot is about a foot in touch. So he thinks, great, we've got our side of penalty here. I can't remember who it was, but someone just comes and picks his pocket just straight out of the air, just grabs the ball off him. Now, that in itself is okay. You got to see his reaction, and I think he even goes like, "Oh, what the fuck? What was you doing?" I had that then. That was our penalty. Anyway, bit of lightheartedness on that one. All right, number 2 this week. 2040s. I never thought when this rule was brought in a couple of weeks ago, we'd have a weekend with 2 2040s in one weekend. Now, I'm probably not the person to ask about this because I'm not a fan of 4020s either. I think like 4020 is like a side quest. It's like, all right, we've got the game. The game is rugby league. We've got tackles, we've got defence, we've got strategy. You know, we're trying to move defenders around to match attackers, and attackers are trying to break through and offload the ball and all that. But then for some reason, there's this kind of pinball-esque thing going on, which is if you've done a really poor job at attack, or the other team's done a really good job in defence, you get this opportunity to just destroy all that and get a reward for actually being bad at your job. Now, all right, the guy that kicked it, he was good at his job because he kicked it. But I don't like this kind of side quest mentality of the 40-20. It's a huge advantage to get one. I'm not a kicker, so I don't understand how difficult it is to get one. Maybe it is, but it's not. For me, if you remove that rule out of rugby league, nothing changes. You know, the game is exactly the same as it was. I think we should get rid of it. This weekend, there were 2 2040s, which is, I mean, 40-20 is one thing. Harry Smith got 2 of them in the Wigan game this week, and everyone loved it. A 2040 is pathetic. Like, the fact that you can get, 40 metres down the field, a full 5 tackle set down the field, and start again because you're pinned behind your own 20. To me, that's ridiculous. There were 2 of them this week. One went to Leeds, the other went to Salford, and yeah, I'm just not a fan of that. All right. Number 3. We got ourselves a draw this weekend, guys. A bloody draw. How often does that happen? Probably once a year we get a draw. And that was this year's. Although, to be honest, I'd say usually like twice a year we get a golden point, and I think this was the 5th time this year that it's happened. Interestingly, both these sides, Leigh and Hull FC, 22 apiece at the end of the game, they've both already won a golden point game already this year, so they can do it. They've got the kicking prowess to do it. I wonder, I think actually Gareth O'Brien, who kicked the Leigh goal in that famous 1-0 victory at the start of the year, I think he was actually taken off the field prior to this. But yeah, a bloody rugby league draw. And that's really hard to do these days. But it was heroic. I kind of said already, I'm not sure what I think of Golden Point. Golden Point is a bit like this 40-20 thing to me, where it's like almost like a side game of, all right, 2 sets of lads battled it out for 80 minutes. They came up even at the end of it. I think you should be able to walk away. People don't really seem to want to walk away from that anymore. They need a victor. Everyone was so disappointed at the end of the game for a draw. I think a draw is great. But the actual Golden Point thing was amazing, particularly from Hull FC, because the amount of charge downs that were there was like 3 or 4 really good charge downs, like awesome charge downs where they reclaimed the ball even on some of them, which often isn't the case. I mean, the strategy of Golden Point, we all know this. It's very different to a regular game because you got to get field position. That field position is key because everyone's just dropping goals. But in defence, not only do you want to keep them away, but you really don't want to get those repeat sets because it's dangerous, isn't it? Because then you're allowing that field position again. So the defence, it's hard. You have to defend harder than you've ever defended before, whilst not risking breaking any rules. Now you should be doing that anyway, of course, but at this point where it's Golden Point, extra time, it's absolutely important, terrifying, and exciting. So the draw, I mean, personally, if I were Leigh here, I'd be kicking myself because the game itself, I mean, the game on Thursday night, I think there's 2 contenders for me. It was either the first or the last game of the weekend, the Hull FC Leigh or the Wakefield Warrington game were the games of the weekend for me. But there was one point there in the first half, I think it was, between 25 and 35 minutes where basically Hull FC had 11 players against that really fast attacking Leigh side. And really what Leigh should do when Hull FC are down 11 players is just really punish Hull FC, really make them defend as many tackles as they can with that lower number, and then eventually they'll break through. But instead, what they did was just waste time with stupid, careless penalties. So between, I've got it written down here, between 25 and 35 minutes, Leigh had a holding down, a high tackle, 2 consecutive ball steals. That's on 2 consecutive sets, ball steals, a crusher tackle, and a high tackle. So, 6 penalties given away within that 25 to 35 minutes, when really what they should be doing is not even focusing on defence. They should be battering the attack, repeat set, turnover, like really, really get that head of steam and at least get one more try. And instead they did nothing. They didn't do anything with that 11 minutes. In fact, all they did was give Aidan Caesar and Jordan Rapiner, 2 of the most dangerous men on the pitch, 10 minutes off. All right, so that's my number 3, the draw. Number 4, and this is a weird one. I've been thinking about this for a while now, and it just seems to be part of the game. So I wasn't gonna mention it until I saw that Wakefield Warrington game at the end of the game, weekend there on Sunday. Number 4, short dropouts. Now, I don't know when these short kicks came into vogue. I know that Rowan Smith at Leeds basically lost his job because of short kickoffs, at least, because they just weren't working for Leeds. But it seems to be the trend now to go for a short dropout. And for me, the best you can achieve with a short dropout is, yes, holding the attack off for a set. You get the ball back, great. But you're going to get the ball back between your own 10 and 20 metre line. You're not really going to gain any more meters than that. And these days, no one's really taken by surprise by it. So you don't even you just get pounced on, potentially even put in touch. Now, the reason I bring up the Wakefield Warrington game is because during that game, there were 6 short dropouts across both teams and at least 3 short kickoffs. That's the ones that I counted, which is just bizarre to me. I mean, a short dropout is so dangerous because, none of them worked, by the way. None of them got the defence the ball back. All of the balls always went to the attacking team, and then they're right on your 20. And I think this day and age, there's pros and cons of that. Some teams are really up front, just smash your line, power through, bowl over the line, maybe even a really short kicking game. Some teams are that, whereas other teams are, will attack from, say, 40 metres out, and that's where the tries are made. So maybe potentially there is an argument for that. If you're playing someone like Catalans, for example, maybe a short dropout isn't the worst because they can't attack anyone's line at all right now. But for me, it's too dangerous, and I don't know when it started. I'd love to hear your opinions on it. But yeah, short dropouts just don't. I'm just not a big fan of them. All right, number 5. Number 5 this week. We all know I'm a fan of Captain's Challenge, but it's a controversial thing, and I really want it to succeed. But it's under scrutiny at the minute because players don't really know how to use it. And there were 2 really big examples this week of just wasted challenges. Mikey Lewis and Jake Connor basically, I think, completely wasted their challenges. Mikey Lewis, particularly, 43 minutes or so into that Saints Hull KR game, Mikey Lewis stole his own player's ball, basically ripped the ball out of the tackle, or so it seemed on the challenge. And I just think, if you've just ripped the ball off your own player, all right, we're in the second half at this point, we haven't used it yet, roll the dice. Don't challenge it, because you know what you've done. You at least know how it might appear to look. The ref's already given a ball steal or a knock on. It was deemed a knock on, and Mikey Lewis is stood there going, "Oh shit, I might have ripped that." Let's send it up anyway, because then you've wasted your challenge, and you got saying it's a penalty. It was a knock on a minute ago. Now it's a penalty. So that to me is bad behaviour. I'm going to say it's pretty bad behaviour. The other one, the Jake Connor one, it's fair, and this one's less egregious, I think, because it's kind of a nice set play on the 20. There's a nice little kick gets put through. Jake Connor goes around the side, dives on the kick, and fumbles it, right? Now, this is 3 minutes into a game that Leeds didn't end up scoring any points in, and they wasted their challenge on the call of a knock-on. Again, right, Jake Connor thinks that ball hit his knee. Okay, he thinks the ball hit his knee. Now, if the ball hit your knee, Jake Connor, that's still a fumble. It's a dropout. So you don't get a try for it. You're still getting a dropout because, or sorry, a 20-meter restart because you hit the ball out. The ref thinks you knocked it on. Now you were in the situation. You need to say to your team members, actually, you know what? Even if that wasn't a knock on, I know how this is going to look on camera. So just don't bother. We'll save it for later on in the game when there's something more egregious, maybe something a little bit more in open play. Maybe when there's actually a try being disallowed, that's when we'll use it. 3 minutes into a game for a really, really messy knock-on, for me, isn't great. What I have noticed about the captain's challenges this week is that the refs are really getting on it now. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago on the show, whatever you call it, that there was kind of an us versus them with the refs. I think they're taking this very seriously. I think they want fewer captain's challenges and better resolution of the captain's challenges. So I think with Marcus Griffiths, particularly, I noticed he's asking for specific camera angles, as if, they must have like a map of the pitch or something. He's asking for these specific camera angles. Now, maybe you can do that with a video ref for a try or something like that, but obviously there's more possible angles when you're in free play. I just thought it was good. It was a good show of willing by the refs. We don't want to get it wrong. We want to get it right, and if we get a second chance to get it right, we still want to get it right. That's how I'm thinking of this anyway, very charitably. All right, let's round it up now. I'm going to finish this one with some Adam Swift skills. Just a bit of positive, I think, at the end of this, because I think I've been a bit moany this video. Adam Swift skills. So 4 minutes into the Wigan Huddersfield game, Adam Swift scores a try. Now, he's not alone when he scores that try. Yes, it's a big old looping pass to him from basically the middle of the field. But he's playing Wigan. And we know that Wigan are so good at bowling people into touch, right? The amount of, you could probably get a 20-minute highlight reel over the past 4 years of the Wigan Warriors just bowling people into touch, either as a team or individually, J Field or French, whoever's fullback, just absolutely destroying the hopes of another team by getting them in touch. And Adam Swift obviously knows this too. So he gets that big old looping pass, catches it great, and he's heading for the try line. He's obviously got one thing on his mind at the try line, but then he remembers, oh shit, I'm playing against Wigan. Looks to his right and sees, yep, there he is. There's Bevan French just coming straight at me. So instead of doing the winger thing of, diving for the touchline, which probably wouldn't have worked where he was probably going to get tackled at that point. What he does instead is fucking muscles up and just leans into Bevan French and just gives him the business. I'm not going to say he doesn't take him out or anything, but what he does do is completely neutralize the defense and then puts the ball down, or at least that's how I remember it. I've been a real big Adam Swift fan for years now, like back, since he first came on the scene at Saints. Basically, I think he's a real good player who's kind of got forgotten about because, when he was good at Saints, of course, but then Saints have had Tommy Makinson for the past 15 years, 14 years, and Regan Grace was a bit of a star as well at Saints, so he got kind of overshadowed. Moved over to Hull FC, where again he was good, but Hull FC just weren't really doing anything at that point. Now he's at Huddersfield, Huddersfield aren't really doing anything major, but I don't know, people like Huddersfield a bit better, I guess. I don't know. He's got more opportunity at Huddersfield to do the things that he wants to do, and he's doing them. This for me, I just really liked it, and I've been a bit moany today, so I thought I would just end on this, talking about, for me, a highlight for Adam Swift's skill in that game with Huddersfield at the weekend. All right, so that's the 6 again this week. What have we had? We've had Divot Gate 88, 2040s, Leigh the draw, the famous draw, Leigh Hull draw, short dropouts, wasted challenges, and Adam Swift's skill. So that's my 6 again for this week. What was yours? Let me know. Always love to hear them when I hear them. So let me know. Listen, if you like this, if you like watching these videos, like them, subscribe. Just trying to get this thing off the ground. So come with me, guys. All right. Thanks for watching. See you again next week.